YouTube, welcome back for some more Valorant. Today we're going to dive into another story regarding another team called Gambit. And the title for this episode is, well, for this video is very intriguing because it states the team was forced to disband. So that's what disband, that is insane. Hearing that is insane. So we're going to check out the story today. Of course, this video is being recommended. I will leave a link in the description down below for the original video. Make sure you go support their channel as well. Other than that, sit back. Let's get started with the story.
Gambit, Optic, last year's Loud, and the current iteration of Fnatic. Valorant has had 5 teams that were the undisputed best at some point in the game's history.
Really?
4 of them still exist today. The only team that doesn't is the team who are arguably the best of them all. This is the story of Gambit. Gambit is an esports org that's had teams in all of the major games, and found international success in most. They look to repeat that in Valorant, and so joined the scene very early on in the game's lifespan. By September 2020, only a few months after the game had left beta, they'd already signed the roster to compete in the CIS region, looking towards the first tournament in Valorant esports, First Strike. Every region had its own First Strike tournament, with other regions winners including 100 Thieves in North America and Heretics in Central Europe, but Gambit looked to take the crown in Russia. They fought their way into the main event against other Russian teams like Forza and Singularity, but wouldn't be able to take the title. So Gambit hadn't found success immediately with this roster, and so decided to switch a player out. This is where we see the 5 players who would eventually take over international Valorant on the same team for the first time. Let's start with the new guy on the team, Redgar. He'd replaced Sun.
That's crazy because sometimes it could work out or bite you in the ass, replacing an actual player and that's it. But it sounds like it worked out pretty well.
Set as the IGL on the Smokes role and was a wholesome personality to add to the team, a reputation he still holds to this day. Next up was Nats, the team's Sentinel player. He was known as a ratty player at the time, but maybe hadn't quite played up to his full potential yet. Defo was Gambit's duelist. He wasn't super flashy, but that meant he played off his teammates' utility well and didn't overheat too much. And finally, their 2 flex players, both all-around cracked players in both game sense and aim, Shados and Chronicle. This new and improved roster would play in the first CIS Challengers split, which culminated in the Regional Masters tournament. With their new roster, they managed to win both Challengers and Masters without dropping a single map. They'd proved themselves as the best team in Russia, and after another almost flawless split, that led them to play against the best teams from all of Europe. Only 2 European teams would be invited to the first global Valorant LAN, held in Reykjavik, Iceland. For Gambit to make it, they would have to go through a group stage bracket and then come top 2 in the playoffs. Gambit were up against FPX to see who made it through to the playoffs, and with big performances from Defo and Nats, they took the win. They were now only 1 game away from competing on the international stage against the titans of early EU Valorant, Fnatic.
As Durka takes down Nats, it's not looking too good for Gambit. They need to turn up here, man.
First map.
There's just nothing they can do.
Fnatic showed why they had such a feared reputation in this match, taking it 2-0 over Gambit and advancing to Masters Reykjavik, and almost winning the entire thing. Gambit hadn't made it this time, but when the next international LAN rolled around, Masters Berlin, they would not be denied. They would practice the same executes 24 rounds in a row in scrims, with almost no days off. They were incredibly dedicated to perfecting their gameplay.
That's a lot of
dedication. And were determined to show it in Split 2. Another flawless split in Russia again granted Gambit passage to the European playoffs. Once there, they won 2-0 over Guild with a 19-17 in the second map. These crazy map scores become somewhat of a pattern for Gambit, and then lost 2-1 to Ascend to go down to the lower bracket. They once again activated lower bracket Demon mode to win over Liquid, which was actually the match that qualified them to Masters. They didn't stop there though, taking down G2, Ascend and SMB to win the playoff bracket overall. They suddenly found themselves as the favourites from Europe heading into Berlin. Could they live up to those expectations? At Berlin, they found themselves in possibly the easiest group. Gambit, 100 Thieves, Crazy Raccoon and Havan Liberty. 100 Thieves were definitely a threat, but the 2 other teams, not so much. In their first match against Crazy Raccoon, Gambit only dropped 2 rounds in the whole series. They then played 100 Thieves, which was a hyped matchup in the NA versus EMEA rivalry.
I barely have any friends.
Good for 1. Eco trades 1 out. No, just narrowly not able to get the second.
Oh no!
You're so insane, Eco. Holy shit!
Running for the
A 1v3.
Chronicle has plenty of health. Chronicle on the tap. He's got to get
Pros don't fade.
No way gets the defuse. Nah, I get it.
Gambit didn't manage to take it despite it being so close, and therefore play the rematch against Crazy Raccoon in the lower bracket. This was a much closer game, but Gambit still took it 2-0 and moved on to the playoffs. Masters Berlin was back in the Valorant days of old, where we had single elim playoff brackets, so if Gambit lost once, they'd be out, and it would not get easier. Their first opponents in the playoffs were a team who had won over 100 series in a row. They were
Vision
known for their
Strikers?
innovative strategies and had already beaten SMB and Ascend in the group stages. That team was Vision Strikers, the Korean powerhouse. How would Gambit fare against Asia's #1 team?
Right, it was
Damn.
space that they already had. Shados good for one. The Rolling Thunder not providing a ton of value as Nats is there as well.
They ran through them.
Unfazed by that ultimate, the classic.
Well, this first map.
Oh,
Oh,
my God.
what a jump shot.
Nats!
Damn, what a jump shot.
What have we just seen?
Really well, apparently. A 13-2 on the first map set them up to take the series pretty comfortably, and so they moved on to face G2 in the next round. But before we talk about
That was
that
light work
series,
then.
we need to mention a player on Gambit who'd caught the eyes of the world in Berlin. Nats had begun to develop a playstyle where he could seemingly sneak behind enemy lines completely unnoticed. We'd seen it to some degree before, but Nats
behind the
brought
Viper.
lurking to a whole new level in Masters Berlin, and there's no better map to show that on than Icebox versus G2. Gambit had taken the first map 13-10, and so if they won this one too, they'd be into the grand finals.
Oh, 3 of them.
Nats, it gives them a way back into the round. Instead, it just comes out to this moment, and oh, they've seen it, but he's still manages to come out with 3! Ridiculous from Mixwell, leaving just Nats. He thought he'd given his team a free pass in towards the A site. Instead, he sent them to their death.
We thought Nats had snuck by.
See the map
Mixwell.
placement? I know you
Turns
guys
out
can't
it was
see because
the
my
other
camera
way
placement,
around.
but seeing the map
Nats
placement is
now having
crazy.
to clutch this one out. No idea where Mixwell is, and the snake bite not quite clearing the angle. He's about to run to site, reloading, and Mixwell completely whiffs. Nats really punches it out.
It makes it hard to
3
read.
kills, 5 rounds. There seems
Damn.
to be no way for G2 to get off the starting point. Mixwell, by the looks of things, Defo's holding it with an op, and that's going to be the rifle dropped. Look
he's
at
chilling.
this, but, I mean, get out of here.
Such
The rattiest player
He's a
I've ever
rat,
seen
bro.
in my life. The fact that he can look 2 kills, why not? Yeah, give him.
I will hate to play against them. I will hate to play against them, bro. It's always a rats. I hate playing against rats. I mean, to be fair, I do that sometimes in other games. It's always fun to do because people don't expect it. And like, yo, you know, it works, but it's so ratty, bro.
All of them.
Oh my god.
Not really going to get away with anything for now. How? No,
Look.
but how? How? How is he there? How is he there? I don't understand. How does he manage to do that? And oh, he's going to get the kill on Mixers. What is this man doing?
The caster's voice.
Tag, they're
Who won't
losing
ball
their
against G2?
lives. 3 players remain. G2 being utterly humiliated. They'll get themselves a spike plant. They'll give themselves a bit of hope, but Shados looking to drop more players. Another one falls. It is looking all but over. It's on to Kellogg's to give them anything, and G2 have been humiliated as Gambit
I
make
would've been
their
annoyed
way
if-
through to the final, and who the hell will doubt them now?
The bad thing is against playing a rat is that once you know they're lurking and playing like a rat, you start to worry a lot about their variables in the map. Like you start thinking about your sides, your back, low, she knows and that. Instead of reading them like a book, because we rat, it makes you kind of unpredictable, and that's a problem. But like, god damn, it's annoying to play against. That's annoying.
They'd made it into the grand finals in incredible fashion, a 13-0 in the semi-finals of an international tournament, the likes of which we'd never seen before in Valorant, and something we haven't seen since.
Oh,
Moving
shit.
on to the grand final, and their opponents will be very familiar to most. They were under the Envy banner at the time, but would later become the dominant Optic team of 2022.
Optic takes it.
This was also their first appearance at an international tournament, so whichever way this went, we'd see a brand new winner of a trophy. Would
Oh.
NA get their second in a row, or could Gambit become the first EU champions?
Just holding that pixel angle, but cross actually Marv will get found.
Okay, this is now where
Thinking about another match.
Still alive.
Chronicle!
For so long! Chronicle's not letting anyone pass. He's still trying to fight fully blind. Gambit turtle up. They let nothing. Straight 20 seconds now. Victor, 34 HP. And it's done. Shados leans forward. Map 1 was
Map
an
one.
absolutely brutal battle between these two. This is the team that looked like so good against like Sentinels. Yeah,
there it pops
still
off.
looking good. Excuse me, Yay. Got his ult, but it is against big boy Nats, and Yay's gonna get that to halfway. You know it is. Now, Nats, what are you gonna do about this, though? Okay, that's the plan. Okay, forces him off, and the spam comes in. He goes right back out.
No way.
Yay, what can you do? The right click. Nats, he's just doing the dance.
What am I
He
watching?
gets the
Gets it.
frag.
What am I watching?
Wow,
He's
what a
got the
1-on-1.
defuse line.
What a 1v1.
Yay has just clutched that round.
Yeah, we're
Where are
big
they
there.
going with this? They need something to open up for them here, and nothing is. They have 25 seconds and they got to now lean back towards B, but Redgar's still here. He still knows what's going on. There's still Nats at the back of the site. Envy, come on, you've got to make this happen.
3.
He walks through and destroys Envy.
Envy out.
3 back-to-back frags, and it might be 4 in a second. He's on the chopping block. Gambit have made it to 12. One more round, and Gambit walk away. Chronicle, the man who just destroyed them in the prior round, is just around this corner, but the timing, oh my god,
What?
no! Yeah, he's made a meal of it! It's all going
3-piece! 3-piece for Chronicle!
In the final moments, has just shone so brightly, they are blinded by the lights!
Gambit takes it!
Gambit are the Valorant Masters champions!
Gambit took the series 3-0 over Envy and won the Masters Berlin title. They looked completely undefeatable at their peak, with 5 of the best players in the world on every role.
That was good.
Gambit had cemented themselves in the Valorant history books, and with that Grand Finals win, they had the opportunity to do it again at Champions at the end of the year. December of 2021 rolled around, and with it came that first Valorant Champions tournament. Gambit would be accompanied there by many teams they'd played before: Envy, Fnatic, Liquid, and Vision Strikers, just to name a few. Luckily though, they got a fairly easy group again, so didn't have to worry about any of those teams. The teams they did have to worry about were Team Secret and Vikings, both minor region squads who were the underdogs in the matches, especially considering Gambit had just come off a title win. They definitely put up strong fights though. Team Secret took a map off of Gambit, although then did get 30-0'd right after, and it got especially scary in the Vikings match. Gambit were down 12-5 on the final map of Icebox, one round away from the losers bracket once again. But this was a team who could seemingly pull off miracles, and this particular one took them into the playoffs, 9 rounds in a row to win 14-12. And with that match, they'd made it back. Once again, single elim playoffs. Lose once and you're out. Their opponent would have been Envy in this first match had the results gone as predicted, but after a shock upset, it ended up being X10 instead. X10 had momentum coming in from the previous game, but Gambit dealt with them effectively and moved on to the semi-finals. That was the thing about Gambit. Their emphasis on utility usage as opposed to relying on individual skill meant that they tended to get upset a lot less often than other teams, and they still had incredible individual players to top it off. They would need to show that in the semi-finals, which is regarded as one of the best series in Valorant history. Gambit versus Crew. Crew were a similar opponent to X10, as they'd pulled off some crazy upsets in this tournament to make it here. Crew were fueled by pure passion and had some incredible individual players like Kesnet and Mazzino. Gambit's playstyle seemed to match up well against them, but when a team has that much momentum, sometimes they're impossible to stop.
Kesnet's made a risky decision going into this close corner, but they haven't checked
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Isolate one of these players. It's going to be Klaus on the other side, and the shot is connected. The sneaky push through catches him though. A big round from Delzing, and it's left into the 1 versus 1. It's a perfect place. Piece of utility out from Redgar. Can he get this final kill? Yes, he can.
Somebody's slowing them down. He's harassing them in the back lines. 20 seconds left as they make their way forward. Up goes Nax.
So chaotic.
Connecting. Klaus though going huge. The Nano keeping them back, and this is
they're just dropping at one gunfight.
Walk out with 13-7. Map 3 is where we'll decide things, and you can see that they're very scared of that operator. And why wouldn't you be?
Look at the stack.
Playing behind the smoke.
And the 4-piece. Give me the 4-piece. Go ahead.
They come around the corner. They're not expecting it.
Jesus! Oh, what the turn on!
5! An ace for Chronicle.
Damn, Chronicle!
Saved.
Chronicle produced what I believe to be the best ace in Valorant to this day to keep Gambit alive in this match and let them take it home. 18-16 was the final score, and Gambit moved on to the grand final.
That was big. Holy shit, that was big.
This was the first time a team had made it to a second grand final. We've seen it a few times more now with Optic, Loud, and Fnatic, but Gambit were the first. Their opponents would be Ascend, a well-known foe to them from EMEA. CNED was their flashy jet player, who stood out in most series, but in this tournament, Zeke and Starkso stepped up massively to bring the team to a whole new level. This would be far and away Gambit's most difficult match. Would they be able to challenge a white-hot Ascend?
Just a little jump peek, that's enough. Just to reassure. Positioning, what?
Wow.
Zeke! 2 kills out of nowhere, and suddenly this round becomes a little bit more viable.
Handling
The
that?
time is the biggest problem.
Shit.
Oh my word, Zeke! Is this when you're going to step up and deliver? But it's going to be Chronicle. The box
and he was basically one shot. Oh shit!
The timing! I don't think he's going to have the time. Surely! Surely! Oh my god! Zeke has just destroyed them! Defo, you still need to be key in this one, and Bone Cold's got him across the map. CNED still stands as well. This could be the one. This could be the round to take him across the line. Nats, the last one alive here, and Ascend bound back. 13-7. There is life in them yet.
Then came Fracture, and Nats gave the people what they wanted.
Look at Nats to try and find
Look,
something.
target.
He's right out of drop already.
Look.
To challenge Keyless, and he will win it out.
Oh, with the pistol.
Down to 2, Starzo and CNED.
Look.
And they're so split on this. Isolated again. Nats is just, he just won't die. He literally will not die.
I'll hit him against Nats.
He's surrounded. He's dealing with the pressure well because he knows that Nats has his back. Gonna find one. Redgar swings in, and it's all down to Starzo. It's all but over. 13-3.
What a damn.
Flawless
Take map
end
2 or
to
map
the
3, I mean.
Neuron flawless map. This was decisive.
And after taking the lead in the final moments of Icebox, Gambit looked primed to take the Champions Trophy. But Ascend refused to be put down.
For an angle through mid.
Starzo? Are you
What is
kidding me?
that?
What a time to come alive! Starzo takes down Shados, takes down Redgar. 2 stand, make it 1. Redgar, is there anything left in the tank? Or have Ascend done enough to take us all the way here? Redgar, can he get towards the spike? Tap the spike.
No way.
No.
He's gonna get it.
way. Someone
he
stop
did
him.
it.
It's gonna be Zeke, and we're
Damn.
going the distance.
Split was the final map, and Ascend simply had too much momentum for Gambit to stop. They took
Gambit
the series
lost?
3-2
Oh,
in the
shit.
closest grand final of the pre-franchising era. Gambit hadn't managed to win a second international trophy in a row, but they'd come damn close, and things were only looking up for 2023. A new system in Europe meant that Gambit didn't have to play a whole split in Russia, and could go straight into playing against the whole region. That meant their 2022 started with a match against Liquid, which they 2-0'd, and another against FPX, which they narrowly lost. They'd had a decent start, but nothing could have prepared them for what would happen next.
It was as sudden as it was brutal and relentless. Ukrainians woke up to find themselves plunged into the midst of war. Explosions and air raid sirens ringing out here in Kyiv and cities across this country as Russia launched a full-scale invasion on multiple fronts in the early hours of this.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense why they had to disband. Because as soon as when Russia went to war with Ukraine, a lot of shit changed in sports entirely too. Like even Formula 1, Nikita Mazepin, even though he was absolute dog shit, their whole sponsorship changed. They had to remove him because of Russia. Because of this war. Damn. That's crazy.
With the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Riot Games prevented any Russian organizations from competing in Valorant. That, of course, included Gambit. After the match against FPX, the Gambit team wouldn't play for almost an entire month while the situation was figured out. Eventually, Gambit and Riot came to an agreement that allowed the team to compete under a neutral name, not representing Gambit. That name would be Masters 3 Champions, or MEC.
Switched.
Since they
It continues to be a very difficult time for everyone in Ali's family, friends live in the Ukraine during this time. Competition smash to bar players out of part of the outcome team.
had missed 3 weeks of the group stage, they had to play games on 3 days in a row, now without an org. The whole situation didn't seem to have a big impact on Gambit's performance originally. They 2-0'd each of the 3 series on their return week in convincing fashion. That took them into the playoffs, where they 2-0'd Guild in the first round, leaving them only 1 series win away from making it to Masters Reykjavik 2022, which would be their 3rd international event in a row. MEC versus Fnatic. The exact same scenario had occurred this time last year. It was a fated matchup, and it would not disappoint.
Fnatic destroyed?
It's the nade thrown through,
or
but
not?
actually Chronicle is the first one to land a shot. Durka,
oh damn!
for a little bit more.
4-piece.
With 4 kills. Landed for them. Something that Fnatic are going to have to be aware of. What has just happened? Nats is the last alive. You blink and you miss it, literally. And those shots, well, they missed. Making all this noise, all this presence, but the rest of the team is going elsewhere. Nats still waiting for them. Catches the first and the second spike down at his feet. That is huge. He even
massive for these. For these.
Taking the whole team down.
I had to get it.
You are 2 rounds away from making it to Iceland. Our Fnatic are holding on to it. In fact, they're mounting a little bit of a retake of their own, wanting to mount this fight towards the ramp, and they've
That's
run
one
into
die.
Nets. That blind is perfect, but a little bit too late.
That's back down too.
It's going to be left just into the hands of Mystic
trades
on the flank. Magnum at least able to grab one.
Yo, for the
defuse
rounds?
underway. Now swing into it, stopping it at the start. Now things get dangerous. Halfway or just about. Brave coming around the corner though. He stopped the defuse. He's running the clock down. Defo wants the swing, and surely that's it. One on time now.
Oh, I don't think he's got it. It's gonna be close.
Oh, damn! It was right there. Oh my god!
Inside of B main, and then late play flank.
22 round 22 and 21 is crazy. Holy shit! How long does this match go on for?
This is their round. I'm gonna call it.
but now Mech don't win this. I mean, they need a god tier performance to get out alive in this one. They have to catch Durka, and they've done none of it. Fnatic win this one out 23-21, and they're booking their
That's
flights
insane,
to
bro.
Iceland, baby. They're going to Masters.
From down 9-3 to a 23-21 overtime. Unfortunately, it didn't go Mech's way, and Fnatic qualified to Reykjavik. Mech was 0.02 seconds away from qualifying. 0.02 seconds separated them from having the chance to cement themselves as the best team in Valorant history. Mech returned for Split 2 after seeing their old rivals in Optic win the international title. It was a rocky group stage for them, only winning 2 matches and qualifying to playoffs by 4 rounds. It was another similar story in playoffs, winning a few matches and coming 1 game away from the international LAN, but again, they couldn't quite do it. In fact, they lost to the eventual winners of it this time in FPX, so again, if they had won that series, who knows what they could have done in Denmark. With the final tournament of 2022 being champions, Mech had one final chance to make it to the international stage again, the last chance qualifier. Something to note is that before the LCQ, they made a roster change. Defo made way for JD to add even more flexibility to the roster. Now, all Mech had to do was win 4 matches, and they'd be qualified to champions. They could finally get their revenge on Fnatic, FPX, and Optic. But that all started with another revenge match against Ascend in the first round of LCQ. They took them down fairly easily, with Nats debuting his chamber and dropping 32 kills on the final map. That brought them into the upper semis, where they faced OGLU, and they took them down as well. 2 games left. Liquid had once again activated the LCQ buff and made it to the upper final, despite some roster changes before the tournament. If Mech won this match, they'd be 1 game away. Map 1, 13-8 Liquid. Map 2, 13-8 Mech. Map 3, Icebox.
Of course,
of course. There's no way Nats wins this, right?
Don't say that.
Right. He's in a 1-on-3.
I know, Pavlos, but you don't say that in
I
here
believe
because
in
you know
here.
what he's capable of.
He's very much capable of many, many things.
Oh, what a shot.
What did you say? What did you say?
Viper's Pits. And he could hide.
Oh, there you go.
Spots out Scream. This could be the play of his life.
He knows exactly what's happening.
Is it supposed to audio?
And he finds a kill! Nats does it!
There you go.
18-16 Mech.
The zipline has no audio?
They were now 1 match away. After losing to Mech in the upper final, Liquid beat G2 to make it back into the grand finals, so it'd be a rematch to decide who went to Istanbul. Bind was map 1, and it went Mech's way, and all was looking good. But when Liquid, and Scream especially, are in an LCQ, they seem to have some kind of Valorant blessing.
Shields not in play for everyone, and Scream's just going. Already destroying their trap. This will be information. It doesn't even realize. Jado's caught sleeping, it seems, and he just
oh my god.
From Scream. How does he get 3?
Taking him down, the flash out of the cloudburst. We know the strategy, but a little different this time.
There goes Scream the Jet.
To Scream added to it. And Yumpy's in there with the operator. This round could just be done. Nats will try to hold on. 2 quick kills. This is it for Mech. They need this round, and this man has clutched time and time again.
They lost.
Mech had a very fractured 2022 and seemed not to be destined to make an international tournament. But that doesn't mean it didn't hurt. In fact, it probably hurt even more, knowing that they could have continued their legacy as one of the best teams in the world if it wasn't for circumstances completely out of their control. This team looked unbeatable in their prime. Who knows how far they could have gone. The story of Gambit and their potential as a team will live on in the pre-franchising Valorant history books as the era we could have had. I've been Commend. Thank you, Gambit, and thanks for watching.
That's fucking horrible. That's ass. That's honestly ass. Cause it's like Optic story as well. Optic story. You know how everybody's well, mainly for the players. Cause after like Optic story, after the whole shit where they had to disband Optic entirely, they had to switch. A lot of the players went their own different. They went down their own different paths. Some of them continued competing. Some of them didn't. For those who competed, they didn't really get anywhere else. So like it sucks. It's like it sucks because outside circumstances kind of fucked the team up entirely. Like Gambit here with the Russia's invasion over the Ukraine fucked up Gambit's basically momentum. It felt like their momentum, and it's just outside. It's just really outside sources that are meant that are fucking with the game. It's fucked up, and it is sad because like you also get another what if story. You know, that's basically what it feels like, and it sounds like the Gambit were actually really dominated as well. Damn, that sucks, bro. That always sucks. Yeah, but Nats, goddamn. Hopefully Nats still competing. Like hopefully Nats. Well, I'm not sure if it's still the Mex because we didn't really get an update to where everybody's at after this. We're Mex. Not sure Mex the team still, but hopefully Nats still competing because damn, bro. would be dope as well though. But yeah, wow. But besides that, I think next I'm gonna check out Scream. I do want to check out some Scream too. I do want to check out the 10 2.0 story, because I didn't even know 10's had a not a second awakening, it sounds like, because 2.0, that's basically what it implies. And then we will go back to watching other player clips as well, because we still have a lot of players to cover and watch their you know, the top clips. But besides that, damn, it's unfortunate organizations have to disband it all the time, and it ruins a lot of things for people. Fuck, bro. But besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will leave a link to the original video description down below for comment. Go support this channel as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.